The following game has been rated E for everyone by the ESRB, and it has no listed restrictions. That means that the content in the game should be appropriate for anyone aged 6 and up. Furthermore, this game is also listed as Early Access. That means that this game is not yet completed, so what you will see in the following video may not be reflective of the final product. You have been warned. Greetings and salutations. I am Outlier, and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is, of course, my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we are returning back to Hardspace Shipbreaker. The premise of Hardspace Shipbreaker is that you are an orbital salvage engineer, taking apart derelict and supposedly derelict vessels to salvage the parts so that way your corporate overlords can sell them off for a massive profit. Well, arguably yes. I mean, you are paid for your work. However, in order to actually get up to orbit to do their job for them, the corporate overlords expended a ridiculously large amount of funds to get you up into orbit and basically ready for, well, to do the job. And because this is a for-profit corporation and not a charity, and in this game I'm not quite certain there is actually anything resembling a modern-day charity, but I digress, and as such, they expect you to pay off the debt before you see a dime of any real coin. Well, yes, I'm sure the debt is also small, to the term of 1.25 billion credits. That I don't actually know. Credits are pretty much the only main currency in the game. There is another type of currency known as links points, which is used to upgrade your equipment, which until you purchase it from your corporate overlords, you actually rent, because, like I said, for-profit company. But the main coin is credits. And so every day you select the ship, you enter the salvage yard in orbit of Earth, you take apart the ship, and any profits that you make are taken off the debt. Any expenses incurred through buying premium supplies like rocket fuel for your thruster pack, extra tethers for your grappling device, explosives if and when you unlock them, and oxygen so that way you can breathe. Like I said, for-profit corporation. Anyway, all those expenses and even your daily expenses of equipment rental, suit rental, hab rental, and payment for food and usage of the facilities, the kind that the censorship chicken would not allow me to actually talk about. No, more biological. because, as I said, it's a for-profit corporation. But anyway, those fees are added to your debt balance. So every time you go out for a shift, you have to make certain that the amount that you make in terms of salvage exceeds the daily fees. Otherwise, you'll not be shrinking the debt, but increasing it. So I've been playing this on and off relatively occasionally, and for anybody who hasn't seen the last couple episodes, the developers of the game recently came out with a major update, basically revamping. While not really the core mechanics of the game, they did add quite a few extra things with how level progression works and experience works, and they added a few new characters. So a couple episodes ago, I restarted, and have been continuing on since then. Now, I haven't really been playing anything in between episodes, because last time I did, there were some key interesting storyline bits that got missed. So I'm trying to avoid that, which means progress is going to be slow. Which will be especially true if the developers come out with another game-breaking, or at the very least, game-resetting update. Well, that's because this game is technically still in open development. Hardspace Shipbreaker is flagged as an early access title on Steam, which means that developers are currently adding things, rebalancing things, tweaking things, and coming out with major key points of the game. Now, while the game is unfinished, it's still stable enough and built up enough to play and make videos of, hence why I'm doing it now. But I should point out that what you currently see me doing in this game for this video may not fully reflect what you would see in the final version of this game. And with that disclaimer out of the way, this game is of course made by... Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin. Just on the loading screen right now, it says the salvage bay has been coated with a proprietary residue that resists cutting lasers, so I can't actually cut up and salvage the salvage bay. Please do not lick the salvage bay. You know, you gotta remember, these warnings are here because somebody tried to do that. And since we're in orbit, that means zero oxygen environment, which means somebody had to open up their helmet and lick the salvage bay. I mean, I know we get resurrected if the character dies for a supposedly nominal fee, but still, there's crazy, there's what the character does, and then there's that level crazy. So good morning, Shipbreaker. Remember, minimum payment, something, 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 something. Due every day. So current debt sits at 1,249,413,696.92 credits. I know that's a dollar sign, but I believe they still call it credits. And Lynx tokens, which is the upgrade currency, sits at 241. So this is my equipment. I have access to a modular cutting laser, a handheld utility grapple, thrusters, a cross-spectrum scanner, which basically gives me X-ray vision for the ship that I'm attempting to cut apart, the helmet, which contains the O2 capabilities that provide my character the ability to breathe in a zero oxygen environment, and the work suit, which makes certain that the O2 stays in the helmet. Also, there's demo charges, but I haven't unlocked them yet, so I don't get shiny explosives. Anyway, so there's no new messages, just history of the mackerel, history of the new kind of mackerel, and various other extra stuff. There's certifications which serve as my leveling tree. So I'm currently at level 4, which is the beginner, and I need about 1,200 more experience, or MP as it's called, to get to level 5, where I'm then flagged as a novice, which gets me access to the Javelin class. Also looks like it would actually get me access to the Mackerel Heavy Cargo. as well as various extra upgrades, because unlike before the new update, although it's a couple months old, so I guess you really couldn't call it new, but before the new update, I didn't have nearly as many upgrade options, and they were all, well, they were still all level locked behind the leveling scheme, but the leveling scheme ended at 10, so there was no like level 30 unlocks and all that fun stuff. And also stickers, which I can use to, I guess, modify, or at the very least, personalize my cutter or grapple, but I don't really look at the cutter or grapple, so I don't see much the point of stickers other than collecting them. So if we go to start shift, every time you log in a new file, not so much new file, but start a new game play session, it doesn't carry over any salvage ship that you have. So every time you start over, or at least not yet, well, for not right now anyway, every time you start over, you have to view the ship catalog, and these are all the ships I have access to. Currently at grade 3, I don't actually get grade 4 until I get to certification rank 5. So I'm guessing once I hit... Actually, I'm already at 4, aren't I? I thought I said that. Yeah, I'm at 4. So at next level, I get access to the next grade of ships, where they become a little bit more difficult to take apart, and there's more hazards, and basically more stuff can go wrong, but the vessels are also more expensive. But for now, I have to deal with the grade 3 vessels, which, you know... Nope. Do not want to claim that vessel. As I was saying, they're not exactly brimming with high-end expensive stuff, but you know, they're still useful, and well, they still have their kinks and fun little bits to salvage. And then grade 2 are less advanced vessels, and then grade 1 are, I believe, your training vessel, actually. Actually, I don't think there's a training vessel anymore. But basically, grade 1 is just the hull. Grade 2 is the hull with some stuff they forgot to rip out. And then grade 3 is almost functioning vessel. So what I generally like doing is just picking whichever one has the highest total value, which will be the Pacific... I can't even pronounce that, carrier. It's from the Imperial Electronic. It's a Xenolab variant of the Mackerel. The Mackerel is pretty much the only ship I can work on. So it comes in light cargo, which is, as its name implies, station hopper, which is human cargo or transport vessel, and small little science lab. Since the small little science lab is worth almost 3 million credits, that's the one we're taking. Alright, and so here we are. As everything turns on, I actually kind of like how the barge turns on now. That's kind of cool looking. I mean, that's not saying that the processor and the furnace aren't cool looking as well. It's just the barge has it slightly, well, beat. So this is the cross-spectrum scanner, and so I can see on the inside of the vessel. So it doesn't look like there's any O2 to worry about, which is probably good. I'm assuming the next level I have to deal with atmosphere. But for right now, all I have to do is basically yank off the chunks, and I have to, in addition to just putting them where they need to go, I also have to sort them. So like for instance, this communications array has to go to the barge because it's a specific item. So I basically have to shove it down there, or as I like to call it, the net. I have my own names for everything. And that's going to be true for pretty much any standard unique item. So like for instance, the solar battery also goes to the barge, but the outer hull, which is nanocarbon, goes to the processor. So let's make certain the laser cutter can't hit the solar battery, because if I break the solar battery, the corporate overlords will become displeased. And we'll just shove that into the barge, or as I like to call it, the net.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Now let's see, can I... Alright, can't actually cut these two I was hoping I could hit these 2 cut points. This is actually a grade 2 cut point. Oh, I still managed to cut it. Anyway, I was kind of hoping I could actually cut the cut points at the same time, but turns out I can't, because one was too far away. And truth be told, the thing they're connected to, the only thing that they're connected to on this vessel, goes to the barge anyway. I question why I even bothered to cut that off, because for this particular type of map, well, for this save file, I only have 15 minutes per shift, so I have 15 minutes to salvage whatever I can, and hope that whatever I salvage exceeds the daily fees. Now, I should point out, it's not a case that I only have 15 minutes to salvage this vessel. I can take as long as I want, but after 15 minutes, shift is over and I have to start a new shift. So if it takes 2 shifts to take apart the entire mackerel, then I have to make certain that I can cover between those 2 shifts, get enough salvage to cover the fees twice. And there may be times when I have so little left on this vessel, it may not actually be worth salvaging what little is left. So I do have to wonder about that. I also have O2 meters and fuel meters, which used to refill in between shifts, and now I'm not 100% certain they do, or at the very least up to a limit. But O2 is, well, draining constantly, even if fuel isn't. Now, as I said before, every time I work on a ship, what I enjoy doing is working outside in and then front back. So I basically take apart everything I can find on the outside of the vessel. So any sorts of high gain antennas, antennas, the solar batteries, all that fun stuff, thruster missiles. If I don't have to enter the ship to take it off, they're the first things I pull.
Salvage secured. Account credit.
If you look at the bar in the upper portion of the screen, that's how much you've salvaged and how much you've lost. So if I break something, it shows up at the other end of the bar from the yellow line, and it's actually a red bar. And anything that I correctly salvage goes to the yellow bar, and as I said, anything I inappropriately salvage goes to the red bar. And the salvage is done when there's nothing left to salvage, and basically when the 2 bars meet. And the numbers that you see in the diamonds denote the level of salvage that I have. So if I want to meet any milestones, I have to get the yellow bar up to the, at the very least, the number 1 line. Preferably all 3 lines, but if I can't, then, well, I can't. Alright, can I just yank this door off? Yes, I can. Alright, so first thing I do once I deal with everything outside the vessel is to make certain that there's no O2. Since there's no atmosphere, So I know I just said work front back, but I also like cutting off the floors and the ceilings, because a lot of the stuff you see inside the vessel goes to the barge, and the barge is directly below us.
Note that excess carbon dioxide can cause damage to Link's equipment.
Come on. Alright, and O2 is low. I do kind of wish that the alert happened a little bit sooner, but, oh well. And of course, if I run out of O2, I die. And I believe the shift even ends.
Welcome to Vintage.
Right, so...
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
Okay. So I'm pretty good on fuel, so I don't actually need more fuel, I just needed O2. Right, and now that I've gotten more breathables, I continue working. Alright, so just let me pop off this section of floor. And this ceiling. This door's in the way. Right, and since this portion of the hull is no longer technically connected to the ship, the light stops working. Alright, now let's cut off the head, as it were. As soon as the cut points go away, it's no longer attached to the vessel. So let us tether. That is not. I don't know what it was trying to grapple onto. Well, it was trying to grapple onto the salvage side of the salvage bay. But let's tether the head to one of the cattle traps. So just enough so that way it separates away and I can get access to the goodie insides. So now that that's far enough away, let's actually cut the tether so that way it doesn't travel further away. And what I generally like doing is, for at least for the mackerels, is to cut away this glass piece and pull everything out from the outside. Now I do need to be careful when cutting the glass, just simply because there is stuff behind the glass, and if I make the wrong cut in the wrong place, I'll miss the glass because the glass has already been cut, and basically chop off whatever's behind the glass. Or, you know, just straight up not dislodge all of the glass to begin with. Okay, so what am I missing? I mean, it looks cut there, it looks cut there. We're still connected. How about now? Alright, and the glass is now free. And much as I enjoy looking at this and think it's really cool to see through, off to the red maw it goes. That's my name for the furnace. And the processor, the blue one, is known as the blue maw. Alright, and now we just start yanking things out. So these computers go to the barge. And it's electrical, so it just starts sparking everywhere. That's some glass. There's another computer. Just yank this out gently because they like breaking, and when they break, they start electrocuting like what you saw with the other one. And now that the frontal computers are out, I can yank out the seat. And the seat isn't all that brittle, so I don't really much care, you know, what I bang it into. Alright, and now we basically do the same with the other pilot's seat.
Salvage secured.
Cutter, there's 5 minutes remaining in this shift. Get in while the getting's good. Weaver out.
Alright, so that was Weaver. Weaver is technically the foreman of,
Salvage secured.
well, our salvage area. He's basically our boss. And while it says that he's operating out of Olympus Station and the other cutters are operating out of various other places, I think Olympus Station is where one or more of the other cutters that are now in the game operate at. We operate out of a place known as Morgan Station, and we are technically by ourselves because they haven't actually assigned anyone else, at least not as yet, to this place. Oh look, more glass. I wonder how that came off. Anyway, fire that into the red maw. Where it goes. It knows what it did. Yank out these storage bins.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Now the storage bins aren't really worth all that much. Neither are the chairs. Computers kind of are, but they're worth enough so that way I actually try to salvage them. But they're not worth enough to actually make me try to make certain everything gets where it goes, and I'm running out of O2 again. Alright, I also gotta make certain that I'm not traveling at a fast enough speed that I smack into whatever I'm trying to get to and end up damaging the suit or breaking the helmet.
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
Now I'm fine with buying one thing of O2 per shift, but It's after that I take issues, like having to stop to get O2 multiple times. But I'm still relatively low level, and the O2 tank hasn't been purchased enough, a large enough O2 tank, I should say, hasn't been purchased enough where I actually only need to get oxygen once. Get in the net.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
And with that, we have reached salvage goal level 1. So I'm assuming,
Cutter, your equipment durability is dropping. Keep an eye on it. You don't want to be dangling in the wind with busted tools. When you see it happening, head on back to the hab and use a repair kit to fix them up.
right. So I should have mentioned before, all tools have durability. I generally prefer waiting until they're like at 50% or so, or when they start breaking down before I repair them. And it looks like the grapple may actually start doing that. So I went around to this side because this thing is the power junction box. I hate these things because they like exploding. So they need extra special tender love and care and, you know, extra annoyance. But, you know, if you work it out correctly, you can salvage them relatively easily. So now that everything inside the head of the mackerel is salvaged, let me just pull off these sides and they go to the blue maw because all nanocarbon goes to the processor. Rip off the lights on these sides.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Now cut off these cut points.
Credits deposited.
Tether this side to the blue maw as well. And that should be it.
Time to start wrapping things up.
And that technically should be it for the head of the vessel. There are still some small lights in the bottom area, but the lights really aren't worth much, especially the small little circular ones, so I don't really bother. And one problem that I have is that the main cockpit area is comprised of both nanocarbon and aluminum, so stuff has to go to both the processor and the furnace. Now, the stuff that goes to the furnace is in less quantity and less money than the stuff goes to the processor, so the nanocarbon always wins out, so I always send it to the processor. But that does mean that certain things are salvaged incorrectly, so I do get some small amount of little red bar growing on the other side. And I got 3 seconds left, so shift is now over. Alright, so I lost 45 kilograms of glass, 69 kilograms of aluminum structure, 869 kilograms of aluminum paneling, and 4 lights, as well as 118 kilograms of nanocarbon. Not quite certain how that nanocarbon got destroyed, but I salvaged all of this, and that equates to 1.1 million credits. Now, the assumed value, I believe, was 2.9 million, which means that I have gotten about just shy of half the value on this shift. So let's continue, and I gain experience, so I gain 880 MP from salvaging 1.1 million credits worth, and I've gotten this far, and I gain 20 links tokens. If I get to salvage level 2, I can get 40 links tokens, and if I get to salvage level 3, I get 100 links tokens and 1 repair kit. And because each new shift is technically a new day, these are my daily fees, and they equate to about 524,832.91 credits. So I have to salvage at the very least that amount, otherwise this number does not shrink. And clearly, I've gotten that beat by, I want to say, double. But as I said, it's everything from suit and equipment rental to hab rental and various other things, transportation of the salvage to the bay, leasing of the bay, and interest on the 1.2 billion loan, and interest, I should point out, is a ridiculously favorable 0.01 interest, although at $1 billion, that translates to, well, 1 billion credits, I should say, that translates to 124,832.91 credits. But still, I mean, this is like what a bank gives you for a savings account on a good day. And a savings account, for those who don't know, is basically you give the money to a bank, and the bank uses it to lend to somebody else, and they pay you a small stipend for using your money for their purposes. But, you know, if you were to get a loan, that number would probably be in the double digits of interest rate. So I have unread messages from a links edu at links.railmail talking about tool durability. And unread messages will incur an hourly data storage fee after 10 days. So if I look at the messages, it is, as I said about tool durability, Lynx salvage drives provide only the safest and most efficient tools. There's an asterisk there, which means it's a footnote. However, even the best tools will break down with regular use. Damaged tools can exhibit severe problems, well, several severe problems, I should say. They may overheat, misfire, provide inaccurate readings. Your HUD will show the current durability of your tools and will alert you when their condition drops. Many tools can be upgraded to reduce the rate at which they break down. To repair your tools, use your HABS equipment interface between shifts. Repair kits must be purchased by the Shipbreaker and can be obtained from the Lynx kiosk for a nominal fee. Addendum 10.2.2293. I'm assuming that's actually a date. Depending upon how you look at it, it's either October 2nd, 2293, or the 10th of February, 2293. Lynx acknowledges that equipment repair kits can be found in the course of salvaging. Please note that use of these unofficial kits is not sanctioned. And the footnote from Most Efficient Tools is, Lynx is not legally liable for providing the most efficient nor safest tools. Of course they're not. It's a for-profit corporation. I'm sure that if they could get away with not giving me anything, they probably would. Right, so let's actually look at our equipment, and the handheld utility grapple is actually only at 74%. So that's enough for it to start sparking and start doing damage, but not enough for me to actually bother repairing it. Once it gets around to like 50% or so, or like 60 or so, that's when I'll consider repairing it. And as far as I know, I actually don't have any other upgrades to actually purchase. I think I actually have everything available. Yeah, I can't even get extra O2 capacity. So anyway, so let's just continue salvaging. As I said, I get access to the same ship if I haven't stopped playing for the day. But it's again a new shift, so we continue on. And everything powers back on. Also, I should point out that while it looks like O2 refueled, fuel and the tethers did not, which isn't what it used to do, but it's a new type of game, and I guess the corporate war monkeys feel that just giving me free stuff is counterintuitive for the whole for-profit corporation. Now, this chunk of hull is special. Most of the hull that you see is actually made out of nanocarbon, which goes to the processor. This, for some reason or another, is actually made out of aluminum. So I don't know if it got damaged and the nanocarbon got destroyed and it's just the bare aluminum, or this panel was always that way for one reason or another. But since it's aluminum, it goes to the furnace. So I just fire this thing off that way and then pull this light. Get it closer so that way it doesn't hit the vessel. And then fire it out straight at the barge. And the aluminum got processed without me looking at it. So I should point out that for anybody who's seen the really old episodes that I used to make of this game, or old episodes from somebody else, or even have a somehow unupdated older version of this, it used to be that the barge never emptied out of stuff in between salvage runs. So if you salvage a new vessel, it would be empty, but originally it wasn't. And that does not go to the barge. It goes to the processor. I almost ended up firing that in the wrong place.
Credits deposited.
That's my mistake. Right, now I believe I cut off the hull chunks earlier, so This one's actually caught on the frame, so I actually have to yank it off. So it's now free. So this goes to the blue maw, and I can waste a tether making certain it actually gets there, or I can just fire it off repeatedly and just basically push it that way.
Credits awarded.
Right, and since straight down is now open, I just yank off these computers and fire them into the net.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Oops. Accidentally smacked into the ship itself.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Right now, these science vessels have a lot of computers. Even the larger ones actually have quite a few random knickknacks and extra bits. So that's part of the reason why the this particular vessel is so expensive. Right, and clearly I hit something that sparked. I'm guessing it was the electrical wiring. And up until recently, I had absolutely no idea how to actually get the electrical wiring off the hull.
Material deposited.
So let me just yank off this light because that's all now electrical and now sparking and now not safe. So I don't think I actually cut a... Wait, did I cut a power generator? They're no longer... The power cell, I should say. They're no longer actually strapped to the side of the hull. I think they're actually in these chunks of electrical wiring. I guess I should have paid better attention. Now it stinks to be me. Cable junction, cable junction. Yeah, there is actually a power cell here. So let me just yank that out and back away. And into the net with you.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so the power conduit was supposed to go to the furnace anyway, but as I said, it's not something I can just simply yank off. So I either need to break it apart one piece at a time and then send it to the furnace, or...
Salvage deposit accepted.
I mean, I guess I could salvage it in chunks, I'm not quite certain how. But because I'm fairly certain that the electrical conduits and the junction boxes, not the power cells, mind you, but the cable junctions and the electric cables aren't really worth all that much. And if I have to choose between salvaging the cables or just tossing the entire chunk of nanocarbon straight into the blue maw, it's going into the blue maw.
Warning. Oxygen reserves are low.
Welcome to Ventatron 9000. Thank you for your purchase.
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
You know what, while I'm here, let me actually get more tethers.
Tethers restored.
And I should probably get more fuel because I'm like halfway done.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Right, so that whole half ended up going into the blue maw, and as you can see, I gained quite a bit of salvage for a little bit of loss. And the different colorizations of the bars is because part of it is still from the last shift. So the darker portion is what I did last shift, and the brighter portion is what I did this shift. So this ceiling chunk is nanocarbon, so into the blue maw with you. And I'm still moving.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Alright, and I think I actually cut this piece off. Stop. Down. Yeah, it's off. I wouldn't be able to push it with my head if it wasn't disconnected.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Alright, and this chunk of light cargo goes to the barge as well.
Salvage secured.
And we hit salvage goal number 2, so I'm assuming the various variable costs associated with this ship have also been covered now.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Or at the very least, the variable costs not associated with my debt. So, like, CEO, my portion of the CEO's salary and all that fun stuff. Alright, can I yank this table off? I can yank this table off. Question is why, because unlike the computers, the table actually goes to the red maw, and it's attached to the sidewall of the vessel, which goes to the red maw anyway. So I probably could have just saved some time and not bothered with the table. Not that I checked to make certain it actually went where I sent it.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Oh goody, a bunch of small little computers. Joy.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
And this poster of what I'm sure they think I'll eventually look like if I do this job long enough goes to the barge as well, as does this battery pack, which simply happens to be floating there. Alright, and now we rip off the next door. Send that to the blue maw. Remember this time.
Processing valuable objects. Credits awarded.
Huh. There's still power in here. That's interesting. Is there a thruster, though? Nope, no thruster. Okay.
You've got about 5 minutes left in this shift, Cutter. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Weaver out.
I make no promises, Weaver. I am me, after all. Alright, so let's just yank this portion to the blue maw.
Object accepted for processing.
Now, I'm tempted to just keep salvaging this, but I'm also tempted to, well, not. Because I only have less than 5 minutes left on this shift. I can't guarantee that anything that I yank off in 4 minutes, well, let me phrase that, anything I can't yank off in 4 minutes will be worth the fees associated with doing this another shift. So I'm going to try to rip off as much of this as I can. This goes to the processor anyway, and I'm actually low on O2 again.
Welcome to Vendatron 9000. Thank you for your...
Oxygen level stabilizing.
So let's see how much of this I can rip off in about 3 minutes. Of course, if I hit the right key, it would be helpful. Okay, so let's actually cut this part off. And this part. And this part, and this part, and this part, and this part. Right, so now if there weren't electrical cables keeping the whole side of the ship together, I could technically now yank off that part, I believe, and just send it to the processor. Because I think that's really the only parts that's keeping the airlock intact. But because the cables are here, and as you saw with the other side, they like to catch fire and, well, electrocute things, I'm going to have to do this a little bit more, what's the word I want to use? Surgically, I guess? That's a thing, right? Oh, I actually forgot a cut point here. Right, and before I forget, yank off these lights. Right, and tether this to here. I'll actually use 2 tethers, just so that way it travels at a decent speed. And now that that side's been, well, removed, I can just simply yank out the airlock because there's nothing holding it in, and send this to the barge because that's where it goes.
Salvage secured.
And we've reached salvage level 3, which means that they have made the standard amount of profit for what they feel this ship should be worth. So now once that goes away,
Credits deposited.
all that's left is this chunk of upper hull, the back hull plate, and the frame. So the frame is all aluminum, so this goes to the red maw. So just tether this here. Normally I'd cut it in half, but
supplies running low.
Alright, Cutter.
oh good, at least
Wrap it
one
up.
tether is
We got
intact.
about a minute left.
But I got 1 minute left, and that tether broke, so, well, stopped working, so go there. Now, I can cut off that central part, but it's going to the processor anyway, so it's like, what's the point? And what are you? Oh, random antenna. Okay. You go to the barge.
Salvage
There another
deposited.
antenna on the other side?
Credits transferred.
Do I care?
Object accepted for processing. Credits
I don't see it.
deposited.
All I see is the thruster cap, a couple... Get in the barge.
Cutter, looks like you used your last tether. Head on over to the kiosk if you need more.
Yes, Weaver, I got 10 seconds and I want this thing in. Come on. And it didn't work. It was just about to hit the processor and before timer, as time ran out. So I don't think I salvaged that, and I don't think it's going to flag it as salvage. But I lost 1 poster, 1 door console because I was rushing, 8 lights, 16 equipment mounts from, I assume, the roof, 86 kilograms of junction cable, 280 kilograms of electric cables, and 63 kilograms of nanocarbon, but I salvaged all of this stuff. Alright, so 5 kilograms of electrical cables nets me 612.63 credits. Whereas the nanocarbon it's attached to, well, gets me this amount. And I salvaged 1.7, well, almost shy of 1.8 million. I'm fairly certain had the tethers not given way and the final piece of nanocarbon ended up in the blue maw, I would have netted, I would have gotten the 1.8 over 1.8 million.
New certification level has been achieved. License level increased.
On a side note, I have gained enough experience to now be flagged as a novice. So congratulations, Shipbreaker. Your hard work has not gone unnoticed. You have achieved the prestigious rank of novice. New rank 5. Let us continue. I get access to 1 modular laser cutter upgrade, 1 handheld utility grapple upgrade, 1 cross-spectrum scanner upgrade, and ship class 4 certifications. Yeah, it didn't flag it, so there's like this little space and the bars don't meet. That irks me. If I had enough O2 where I didn't need to go back for a second helping, I probably would have been able to salvage that, but oh well.
I think it's time for you to learn about the mother lode of any ship. Reactors. Most dangerous part of shipbreaking, but you got this. Continue when you're ready, Cutter.
Okay, so we now get access to, well, hazard level 4. So Shipbreaker, that's our numerical designation from links.edu at, same email. Systems Reactor Class 1. Career Progression Clearance Hazard Level 4. With access to Hazard Level 4, Link Salvage welcomes you into the ranks of potential high earners. The extraction of reactors from ships is one of the most valuable duties our employees can perform. We expect the utmost care when engaging with the variety of reactor setups you will encounter. Retrieval of an intact reactor is your highest priority during every salvage operation. It is advised to clear a direct path to the barge for the safest extraction. Reactors become unstable once removed from the protective housing and can cause severe damage to surrounding objects. Basically, they explode with nuclear fire because that's essentially what they are. Failure to extract a reactor safely is also a failure to comply with expected performance standards. Please ensure you talk to your supervisor. Consider your ability to safely extract a reactor is a risk factor. We also get access to the Javelin, so career progression, novice, new ship access. Hey, Cutter. This is actually from the foreman, who was Weaver. So, Ho, you're going to love this one. I know you've gotten pretty used to the mackerels, but have you ever seen one of these javelins? Those are some serious ships. Really shows you're getting a grip on things that we cleared you for these. First one up is a refuel javelin. These are beastly, I'm telling you. Needless to say, lots of fuel hazards in there. These will be more challenging to take apart, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it right quick. Most of the jabs have their whole pieces threaded up like strings of pearls. Looking forward to seeing how you'll tackle them. Weaver, Foreman 202-J. And also from Weaver, we get access to a new ship type. So good day, Cutter. What if I told you that I got a new ship coming in for you? You're ranking up, so I'm tossing in a new ship clearance your way. You've gotten to know the civilian cargo ships, and you've gotten those down for sure, but how about you try your skills on some of the industrial cargo ships? Can get a touch hairy in there with some industrial grade hazards, big old fuel barrels and such. Usually built from some pretty dense materials that are heavier to move around. You got this, though. Can't wait for you to try them out. Weaver. So we get access to, well, mackerels packed with more stuff. And the daily fees are, again, over 500,000, but we netted over 3 times that amount, so debt goes down. Right, and if I look at the cutter, the grapple, it's at 65%, so let me undergo training because that's the next big thing, which means no payday for this shift, and the same fees because, again, for-profit corporation. So let's start training, and we're going to learn how to remove reactors, I believe.
I remember my first reactor pull. I was shaking like a leaf. You got less on the line now, but still, let's try to do this without a critical meltdown. That looks like the reactor toward the rear of the ship, but there are lots of different configurations out there in the wild. Okay, we're only focused on one thing right now. Pull the reactor and get it on the barge. As soon as you disconnect the reactor from the ship, it'll start to melt down. So act fast and make sure you have an exit strategy ahead of time.
Alright, so let me just clear out some of these chunks as well.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
That includes these nacelles. I think for training purposes I have access to unlimited tethers, so. Like I said, work outside in. I have absolutely no idea if I actually will make any money off of these, but if I can, might as well, especially given the fact that for training I don't have
Secured. Account credit
to
applied.
worry about O2 or a time limit. And they should all be nanocarbon, so this just pops off and goes this way.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Alright, now away the nacelles go. So I think that's actually everything on the outside of this vessel. Yeah, pretty much. So now we take a peek inside. Again, no atmosphere, because apparently they deem reactor hazards to be easier to deal with than atmospheric hazards. Oh look, I actually pick up thruster fuel. So there are little extra knickknacks on some of the vessels, and you just walk up and just pull them. Look, a junction box. More cargo. So let's rip this door off its hinge. I'm assuming it has a hinge. And here's the reactor.
This one's pretty easy. Should just slide out of her coolant casing with a good yank from your grapple. Try to have your extraction fully planned out before disconnecting it from the ship.
Yes, so this is going to be my extraction. I'm going to cut this thing. I'm going to cut this thing. I'm going to drop the floor. I'm going to pull off this computer terminal just simply because it's attached to the floor.
Salvage secured.
I'm going to send this to the blue maw.
Tether supplies are low.
Actually, no, I have fixed tethers. That's interesting. I'm assuming that's going to head in there.
Object not accepted. Please revisit your...
Oh, that was an aluminum panel. My apologies. But I'm just going to grab all of this stuff. I'm assuming it's the HUD's going all loopy because I'm right next to a reactor. So, not quite certain what radiation's going to do. But my plan is, as I normally do this, just rather than yanking it out normally like any other piece that goes to the net, just tether that right there, point straight down, and back away. And there goes the reactor.
Well,
and in it goes.
You're certainly picking this up faster than I did back in the day. Okay, I'll leave you to it until you get to the next rank.
Just yank this thing off, fire it in here.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
So wait, can I just keep salvaging this? I mean, I won't complain. Of course, now I have a time limit, and now I have O2.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Okay. So now it's just basically a standard work shift. I'm fine with that. Just yank off these parts right here. The thruster cap comes off, and I didn't deal with the thruster cap last time because the thruster bay was empty. This time, there's a thruster.
Processing valuable
and
objects.
it looks like it's still stuck to something.
Awarded.
So since I still have all this stuff to play with, we just cut off the head. I was going to say, I like how the laser cut through that thing of cargo, without damaging the cargo, but it lit the cargo on fire. Oh well. Now is this up or down? This is down. So if I yank this off, it should have the burning cargo, which I should be able to just yank off and fire into the barge.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Alright, you don't go to the barge.
Credits deposited.
Alright, since you're flying all over the place, you get tethered. Straight into the blue maw. Assuming, of course, the tether doesn't yank it straight into the wall. Or at least it didn't get stuck.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
And luckily, I was able to remove all the cargo that was on fire before they all burned up and got them to the barge. At least I think I did. I'm going to assume that I did. Alright, so that's going to hit me in the head, but it's slow enough that didn't cause damage to the helmet. And that goes to the net.
Secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so you off now. Yes, you are. And when things are outlined in blue like that, that means that they're no longer connected to the vessel. Whereas yellow means that they still are.
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
Alright, so that computer started sparking because I bonked it on something. This computer started sparking because I bonked it on something. That junction box is sparking because it's a junction box.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Alright, I'm surprised the junction box didn't explode, but it's still technically attached to the ship, so I guess give it time.
Salvage secured.
Watch, as soon as I remove it, it explodes.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
There were actually storage bins in here. Oh well. Let's see if I can get the junction box out without breaking it. And by that, I mean it explodes and electrocutes me. Away with you! And looks like we got it. So O2 is once again low. I think there was actually O2 in the vessel, but I don't feel like looking for it, so... Just get back close enough so that way I can just reel myself back in. And then brake so that way I don't damage the suit. As soon as I hit...
Welcome to Vintage 9000.
Oxygen level stabilizing.
the hab. So when the tether line goes red like that, that means that there's something in the way. And while it still holds on to whatever you're targeting and trying to grapple, I believe eventually if you don't try to get a solid lock, the tether will actually fail.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Same with the self-sustaining tethers. That's why for that one hull piece that ended up over there,
the tether went red because it was trying to tether it through the wall. Luckily for me, it managed to bounce around and reestablish a solid lock, so moot point, kind of, sort of ish, technically.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Right, and I broke that light, so it no longer goes to the barge. Aimed correctly. Right, I'm guessing it's in the barge, and truth be told, it's a light, so I don't really care. But lights are brittle, and that's what happens if brittle things get whacked against too much stuff. They break. Alright, so that hit both cut points, I think. Yes, it did. Okay. You go this way. You go this way.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Yank off the unbroken lights.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
And again, because nanocarbon's worth more than aluminum.
You're out of tethers. Get yourself over to the kiosk to buy some more.
It goes to the blue maw using my last tether, as Weaver just said. So now I go tetherless up until I buy more tethers, which will probably happen around minute 3 because, again, lack of O2. So that junction box goes that way.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
This door goes to the processor.
Object. Credits awarded.
Yeah, okay, so that went in. Let me take off the airlock. Why does it sound like something's on fire? Probably because, knowing this, something probably is actually on fire. Right, and I think it still has the door lock on it. Yes, it does. I'm gonna say I don't really much care about it, but, you know, I managed to pop it off, so... The rest of this can go to the maw, which it may or may not. Get in the maw.
Object accepted for
Thank you.
processing. Credits deposited.
And the airlock goes down that way.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
And we've reached salvage goal 2.
Cut it. You got 5 minutes left in this shift. Knock out that work order before they turn the lights out on you. We wrap.
Working on it. So work order is actually a herald from before the update. Used to be that for each salvage vessel, or each vessel you were salvaging, there were specific things that they wanted, like the nacelles or the reactor or 15 computers, and your primary task was to salvage those things, and that's how you got your links points, links tokens I should say. Everything else you still salvaged for money to pay off the debt, but it was like those specific things you were actually on the hunt for.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
But now it's just basically dump everything as much as you can, and we'll go from there.
Credits deposited.
Right, and I'm once again running low on O2. Gee, is there any O2 in here? There is. So I can just basically grab stuff off the walls, and that refuels, well, everything. And let me also grab this repair kit, anything on this side. And there's this thing, but that doesn't count. So let me grab this light, get it to the barge.
secured. Account credit applied.
Now, since this is technically a training vessel, I don't know if it'll let me continue salvaging it or not. So I'm trying to salvage as much as I possibly can before I run out of time. I'm not going to be able to salvage everything on this ship. I never am. Yeah, you can't salvage a mackerel in 15 minutes. Well, let me phrase that. You can't salvage a mackerel in 15 minutes and turn a profit. I mean, technically, you know, if I really wanted to, I could just cut this thing in half and just toss it all down the furnace. But, that won't actually get me any profit, so... I work better, not faster. Alright, I'm assuming that's going to hit the maw eventually. So these fabric-y thingies on the side, I don't believe I can actually yank off, but they will go to the furnace, same place as the actual frame, so there's no point unless they absolutely have to. And this round orange thing back there is a fuel canister. If I accidentally hit that with the laser cutter, it will explode, so things are going to get interesting. And if I handle it improperly...
Credits deposited.
You're still connected, aren't you? No, you're not actually connected. Okay. I was going to say, if I handle it improperly, it starts leaking fuel, and as soon as anything that can cause a spark hits it, like an improperly removed electrical device, you know, I guess even possibly even thruster usage, would set off the fuel, causing, again, an explosion. I don't know if I'm at a high enough grade where I actually have to manually disconnect it, or... I mean, I'm not seeing... Yeah, I'm not seeing a manual release, although the computer that was underneath the reactor had a utility key, assuming they're still in the game. I would have been able to yank that, well, use the utility key on that computer, and basically flush all the fuel, so it's no longer an issue, but... it doesn't look like I have that option.
Down, Cutter. Dig deep and let's finish strong.
Especially considering I'm fairly certain the fuel computer was one of the first things I ripped out and salvaged. So... But, provided you handle it properly, the fuel tank operates just like any other thing that goes to the barge.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Alright, so that, I'm assuming, disconnects the thruster, which I have 10 seconds to remove, so I'm not going to do it anyway. But, let's just yank it out. And stop. So, had I the time where I remembered to do it initially, I could have disconnected the thruster, yanked it out, and gotten it down. But, I lost 1,269 kilograms of aluminum, 5 lights, 48 kilograms of glass, 62 kilograms of aluminum, 8 equipment mounts, and I gain, when I properly salvage, all this stuff. And the reactor, Class 1 reactor, oh wow, they actually dropped the price for the reactor. Used to be it was a solid $500,000 for the Class 1 reactor. Now it's $375,000. It can no longer pay for an entire shift by itself. That's interesting to know. And we almost make maximum profit.
Hey again, Rook. Just wanted to say, I'm impressed with how quick you're picking things up. Not sure what kind of work you've done before, but you're a natural cutter. You probably noticed Lynx doesn't exactly take great care of us. I don't blame them. They don't really have a reason to. Up until about 100 years ago, workers like us would make groups called unions and fight for better wages and safer work and decent hours, that kind of thing. Basically balance things so people don't just get exploited to hell. Lynx was actually key in getting rid of all that. But there's a group of shipbreakers now trying to bring back the idea of a union. change things for the better. Did you know that Lynx keeps your DNA even if you leave? Or that those hull panels you get 10 credits for are resold for 1,000 apiece? That's the kind of thing they want to change. Anyway, it's all hush-hush, of course, and Lynx sums it out right quick. But I see that you're a good person and a hard worker, and they're gonna use you up and you'll get naught for it. So I hope you don't mind, but I signed you up for the union newsletter. Comes every couple of days. Read them, don't read them, trash them, whatever. Just please don't report me. Just want you to have the info. I was glad someone gave it to me when I was new.
Okay, so this was one of the shipbreakers. I forget her name and it's not listed. But I'm fairly certain that if corporate finds out that she's trying to form a union, she's going to have a workplace accident and her DNA is going to get corrupted. So she'll be dead. And anyway, we make this amount, total fees are that amount, let us continue. I don't know. Actually, I can keep salvaging this Shippy Titanium, which is the vessel I was training on. Okay, cool. What's the equipment look like? So the grapple's at 54%, so it's just shy of half. So there's that. What else can I upgrade? So I can actually upgrade the range of the utility grapple. So it has a maximum range of 50 right now, but now it'll be a range of 75. So let me actually upgrade that. The laser cutter has a range upgrade for the Stinger, but I'm shy of 26 Lynx points. Thrusters have no upgrades. Cross-spectrum scanner gets the scanner object mode, but I'm just shy of 200 Lynx tokens for that. Like 196, I think? So, not getting that. Helmet has no upgrades. Worksuit has no upgrades. Where actually is? So, the first O2 capacity upgrade I don't get until certification 8. Okay. And explosives I don't get until 11. Alright, so I'll repair the grapple next time. Let's just continue salvaging. And watch as it explodes in my face. Right, and I once again start with no tethers.
Morning, Rook. Oh, forgot to give you a pretty hot tip. You know all those supplies you can buy at the kiosk? You know, O2, patch kits, fuel, that kind of thing? You can actually scrounge a lot of that stuff for free from the ships.
Come on, Lou. You know that's against regs.
It's not a big deal.
It's also not safe. Nor sanitary.
Come on, what?
You know how long that stuff's been floating around in all that grime and dust?
There's space-grade sealed weaver.
Probably well past their expiry date.
Okay, well, it's not like corporate around here cares too much about our well-being, does it?
Look, Lou, I need you to try to follow the rules now. You hear?
Yeah, sure thing, boss. Catch you later, Rook. Lou out.
Cutter, I encourage you not to huff any old oxygen can you find. But if you do, please just monitor your vitals after. And for God's sakes, don't eat anything you find.
Oops.
Have a productive shift. Holler if you need me. Weaver out.
Alright, so they were wasting my O2 and time, so I just started working without while they were talking. But Lou was the person that gave us the information about the Union. So anyway, we get spare thruster fuel. More thruster fuel. Probably should not be wasting all the thruster fuel, so... Especially now that I don't instantly get free more every shift. So that cargo thing goes down that way. This poster, once again, the future of us goes down that way. Then I rip off this light. And then cut off the hull, which serves as the reactor plate, and this all goes to the processor.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Right, actually almost forgot that there's a fuel tank here. Didn't almost forget, I plain forgot that there was a fuel tank here. So I'm just like cutting willy-nilly and suddenly boom. There's also a power cell here, so I gotta be careful of that as well. But for right now, yank this way. And I'll get more tethers when I need more O2. Pop that off there, send that way, and then send this flying this way.
Secured. Credits deposited. Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, now that that's free, let me yank off the power cell, which kills power to everything, and I can yank off these lights if I really wanted to, but I don't want to.
Credits applied to cutter account.
On the plus side, it moved the nanocarbon chunk, so rip off the light and come with me. On the plus side, we also hit salvage tier 3, well, salvage goal 3, so we made the base profit level that corporate wants us to do. Get in the maw.
Processing valuable object. Credits awarded.
And that fuel tank goes there. What are you? What are you that went flying?
Credits deposited.
Chunk of structure. Weird. Anyway, that goes there. I think I cut everything. No, I did not actually cut everything else off. The back chunk is still connected to the frame. And again, I can hit these cut points to remove this thing, and I get extra access to the thruster. But the thruster's already gone, and I'm running low on O2. So, of course, with the added range for the tether, the grapple, I don't have to slowly fly as far to get back here before I can latch on and just
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
go. So get more tethers. Alright, so all I got left is the frame and the back piece. So the back piece goes to the processor. If I can yank it off. Come on. You know you want to. Oops. Alright, remember when I said that I tend to repair the grapple at when it hits 50%? I'm fairly certain it just hit 50%. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, come with me. Before I light the grapple on fire. You're not coming with me, are you? Fine. You get tethered to here. In fact, you get tethered twice to here. Hopefully it doesn't hit the storm break, which it does not. Okay then. Just going to grab this thruster fuel. Oh crud. Alright, so I'm guessing it flagged it as completely filled with fuel, so it wouldn't let me grab it. But, remember when I said fuel tanks explode? Thruster fuel's a fuel tank. And I caught myself on fire. So now, since this is busted, you go to the red maw. given the fact that it was flying off in its own direction, it probably would have done that on its own, but yeah, there's that. Alright, so all that's left is the frame. So if I hit the right keys, cut you there, cut you there, cut you there, cut you there, cut you there. Oh, and the cutter's damaged now, so cut you there. So in theory, the frame should now be cut in half vertically. Now, anything else I want to grab that I don't accidentally explode? Doesn't look like it. Okay, fine then. This half goes to this maw. This half goes to this maw. Oh, there was some more thruster fuel. Let's try not to...
Deposit accepted.
Now I collect that. Guess it was too far away for it to be flagged. So that one half has gone that way. This other half is currently burning and goes that way. And I believe that's it. So that's it for the Shippy Titania. It is no more. So let me just grapple the hab and fly back this way because it's faster and I enjoy doing it. Alright, so I took some hits, so I need to get... Huh. There's no health packs. I thought, could have sworn that there were some health packs, but the Damadros patch kit fixes the suit. Not that I need it. So let me actually buy more tethers.
Alright, Cutter, you got 5 minutes left of this shift before they turn the lights out on you. Hitter batter. Weaver out.
Honestly, the ship's done, so I'm just going to turn in early. I think I'll get more O2 next time, so let's just end the shift. Okay, so for summary purposes, I lost 32 equipment mounts, 11 lights, and 13 kilograms of door, I should say. But I salvaged all of this and netted 597,098.52 credits. So, as well as a small amount of experience. I mean, it's going from 35,000, I think it was, to 10,000. So 717 is not going to be all that much. But I get 5 links tokens because it's a training job and 1 repair kit. Yay. On the plus side, salvage income exceeds total fees, so debt goes down. So all in all, successful shift. Okay, so I have unread messages, sender, undisclosed, unverified, issue 14, cancel the debt. Let's see what it says. I actually have 2 messages. So sender undisclosed, welcome. So welcome for authorized members only. Thank you for signing up for the Salvage Workers Unite newsletter. We're happy you're here. I didn't sign up for anything, it was Lou. But don't tell anybody you said that. As our group grows, so does the ability to affect positive change for all shipbreakers. As a reminder, the activities of this group are only for authorized members. Please respect the mission and privacy of your fellow members and do not share outside the group. Wish to improve work conditions and ensure that the voices of shipbreakers are heard and respected. We intend to coordinate with the Stellar Commission to start negotiations with the company around policy changes. Here are the key demands we intend to bring forward. 1. Cancel the debt. The dangerous work of a shipbreaker should not come with a crippling debt owed to the company that profits off that work. Demand that the debt be canceled immediately. Not going to happen. Workplace safety. While shipbreaking is a dangerous task, there are unnecessary risks involved due to the company policies or quotas. We demand improvements that would greatly decrease the risk of injury or death. They'll just say work safer. Problem solved. Investigate contract clauses. We demand that shipbreaker contract be audited by the Stellar Commission to ensure human rights are honored, in particular the clauses around ownership of the genetic sequences of shipbreakers. We signed those away when hired. Thank you again for joining us. Solidarity is strength, and we are on the path to improve all of our lives. Salvage workers unite. Yeah, I'm still of the belief that you're just a clone of a clone of a clone, and the original person you're cloned from, worked off his debt and went home, and they just cloned you, said that you now have his debt, and you work regardless. So there's that. So anyway, the new message, issue 14, cancel the debt, salvage workers unite. Yeah, I already read that. One of the most prevalent issues regarding workers' rights among shipbreakers is the fight to cancel the debt. It's the belief of this union that no shipbreaker deserves to be in debt to the company for the privilege of doing the hard work we do. Yeah. Shipbreakers are a key part of the very foundation supporting the current age of stellar exploration expansion, which the company profits heavily from. Our work removes the masses of outdated ships that otherwise clog civilization, transforms them into valuable resources to be used for construction and manufacturing. It's time that we be recognized as invaluable components of the active progress of our species that we are. These are the rights, recognition, dignity, and respect that our profession demands. That includes not trapping us in an inescapable cycle of debt. We deserve to hold the power and value of our own hard work, use it towards building our own better futures. Cancel the debt, respect workers' rights, hope is action, solidarity is strength. Salvage workers unite. Yeah, the corporation's going to corporate overlords are going to take one look at this and say, okay, fine, we'll cancel the debt, but you have to work for us for 100 years. I mean, it's not a debt if it's a time thing. That, or they'll say, but how are we going to make back our costs? You cost too much, and then they're either going to go with robots, or, again, as I suspect, just keep cloning the exact same person over and over and over again, or sadly, clone the same person multiple times and just not have them contact each other. Either way, problem solved. See, working with a union is easy. But on that note, I am going to, the grapple's at 47%, so let us fix that. Yes, I wish to spend one repair kit. If I didn't want to spend one repair kit, I wouldn't have said repair the thing. So the handheld grapple is now back at 100%. The laser cutter and the thruster, well, the laser cutter's at 75. The thrusters are at 76. The spectrum scanner's at 95, and the demo chargers I don't have access to. So there's that, and as I said, I like making repairs around 60 to 50%. So I'm just going to leave everything else the way it is. And if the thrusters go, then, well, things get interesting. But this ship is now gone, so I don't have to worry about this. And I would continue on with a new ship and pick a new ship from the catalog. There are plenty to choose from, including the new refueling Javelin. But if the Javelins from currently in the new update are anything like the ones from the old update, I'm technically going to need demo charges to break apart, because there is some stuff on this thing that the laser cutter just can't cut through. So either fix that, or things get interesting. I also have a grade 4 Xenolab, multiple Xenolabs, and a light cargo, so no heavy cargo vessel, unless they are... No, actually, I am not seeing any heavy cargoes on this list. So I could go with the Javelin. It is certainly has a total value of salvage higher than the others. But this video is rather long as it is, so rather than selecting the Javelin and trying to cut through its guts to break it apart and do all that fun stuff, and probably accidentally hit the wrong thing and watch as things explode, I am going to not do any of that and just simply say that I will have to tackle the Javelin next time, because I am going to call it here.
Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.